been going fantastic so far on the doors. The response is overwhelming. People that you would never have thought, or that I wouldn't have been aware that were Sinn Féin supporters, have been coming to the doors saying that one particular woman, only just last night, had said both myself and my 3 married sons and their families are voting for Martin McGuinness. They feel that he's head and shoulders above all the other candidates. They feel that he's a person who has walked the walk through life, has come through struggle, and was a peacemaker, who can resonate with Martin McGuinness in particular, more so than any other candidate. They feel that he is a man of the people and will represent the people, and they feel that he's a voice for the people of Ireland.
This is probably the last big rally that we'll have before next Thursday, and I think we've had about 15 of them all over Ireland, and they've been just like this everywhere we go. Tralee 2 nights ago, packed to capacity. The night before that in Cork, same in Wexford. Went up to Omagh in County Tyrone to the Struhl Arts Centre where Peter Canavan showed up, and there was, as he said, there was 400 or 500 people in the hall and about 300 who couldn't get in. And that's been a feature of the campaign. The warmth and the reception has been phenomenal everywhere, canvassing through towns and villages, and the city of Dublin has been amazing. And I've been asked how I felt about the campaign, and I've said that it truly has been an experience of a lifetime for me. What I can clearly see from my travels around the country is that the people of Ireland are very sound, they're very warm, but they're also very angry about the circumstances that exist at the moment. They're very angry at how they have been treated, and they're also, very free in expressing themselves about how the media deals with or doesn't deal with their concerns. So my entry into the race represents a threat to the status quo. It represents an opportunity for the Irish people to bring about fundamental change and to send a very clear message to the greedy and the selfish and the corrupt, those people who destroyed the Irish economy through their big salaries, their big pensions and their big bonuses, leaving people fighting it difficult to pay their mortgages, heat their houses, feed their children. That's what it's all about. That's why I took a decision that I would stand in this election, because I want to be a voice for the voiceless. I want to be a voice for all those who have been betrayed by the bankers, the speculators, and the politicians, some of whom walked away from the last general election, government ministers, after they were defeated, and even some who didn't run in the election with fat cheques in their back pocket up to €380,000. And I could only conclude that we were living in an Ireland of the haves and the have-nots, where the elite ruled and where the ordinary people were getting the rough end of the wedge. But one thing is absolutely clear. I think it is absolutely clear. The establishment feel under threat by my involvement in this election. And the people who destroyed the economy, they're not patriots. Patriotism to me is about your country, it's about your community. It is certainly not about yourself. And so people set out their stalls. Sean Gallagher goes forward as if he was never part of Fianna Fáil. I found the letter that he was forced to give to the media very interesting. The letter of resignation, which had to be updated to earlier this year. Whenever he said that he was going around the country talking to community groups and disability groups and all sorts of other groups. But squeezed in among all of those was the banks. So what banks was he speaking for? How much did those banks pay him? And of course the story that he was just on the National Executive because the National Executive didn't deal with policy matters was the most bizarre claim of all. Many of our people sit on the Sinn Féin, our Collier National Executive, and they deal with policy matters at every meeting almost. So trying to distance himself from the people who destroyed the economy obviously hasn't worked. Just as Michael D's attempt to distance himself from the austerity measures isn't going to work either. It is the bank bailouts, it is the austerity measures that have been imposed on the Irish people that have made the Irish people so angry. 700 million in the course of the next few weeks to be paid out to an unguaranteed bondholder. 30 billion over the next 20 years. It's absolutely incredible what these people think they're going to get away with. And that's why my election would send a very powerful message to all of them that the Irish people are demanding change. The people of Ireland have a big decision to make. They can either vote for the establishment who are responsible for the bank bailouts and responsible for the austerity, or they can vote for someone like me who wants to stand with the ordinary people of Ireland. That's the choice they have to make. And if they vote for Sean Gallagher, they're voting for the people who wreck the economy. And if they vote for Michael D, they're voting for the people who are going to impose the harshest austerity measures on the people of Ireland that we have ever seen. You remember Lisbon 2? What did the Labour Party say? What did Fine Gael say? What did Fianna Fáil say? Pass Lisbon 2 and there'll be plenty more jobs and loads of prosperity. And all we've got from it has been loads of jobless and the destruction of the Irish economy. So we can only imagine what Pearson Connolly and Countess Markievicz will think of the Ireland of today and those who govern our country. This is a time for change. This is the best opportunity that the people of Ireland will have to put it up to those who destroyed the economy. And I hope they take it. People will look at Fine Gael's attempts to target me in an effort to make themselves more relevant, which only served to make them more irrelevant. I was tempted at one stage to say to Gay Mitchell, Gay, just pretend you and I were cast back now almost 100 years and we were standing in front of Michael Collins, Pádraig Pearse and James Connolly. And they had to decide which of the two of us was going into the GPO. Who do you think they would take in with them? So this election is about leadership. It's about deciding who is going to be the next Uachtaráin na hÉireann. And I have been hugely honoured over the course of the last 4 weeks in travelling around every one of Ireland's 32 counties. By the time we're finished next week, that task will have been completed. And it has been wonderful just meeting the ordinary people of Ireland everywhere we've gone. And I mean, I'm a good judge of where people are at. The reception has been phenomenally warm, and people know their history. They're well able to judge things in the round. I think they're also well able to work out the different agendas of our critics. And when they go to the polls on the 27th, there is a real opportunity for fundamental change. A vote for me will, I think, be the beginning of fundamental change, and Ireland getting back to a more patriotic approach in terms of how we deal with the wealth of this nation and how we distribute it to the people who really count. And for me, they are not the elite. For me, the people who really count are the ordinary people of this country, who I love and am so very, very proud. Gora Mila, Mila Maoga.
Marvellous night, big turnout, and he deserves it. He went through a lot with those people that was putting him down all through the election, both radio, papers and people. And I hope he heads the poll.
I think it's very relevant, the presidential campaign. I think we as a party have made it more relevant to the youth. I think Martin appeals to a broader section of society that other candidates don't. He is one of the youngest candidates in the presidential election, and I think young people will really come out and vote for Martin's vision for the presidency.
Big night for Louth, big night for the campaign.
Oh yes, it's brilliant. It's been brilliant up to this. You know, the reception on the door is very good. Everyone's positive. And after tonight, if we had all these people here tonight rapping doors, we'd have no problem whatsoever. You know, it's a brilliant occasion.
What do you actually think it'll mean to the people of Ireland, never mind Louth, if Martin were elected as presidency?
I think what it would do in one fell swoop, and I don't like being too optimistic. I think it would be the ending of partition. I know that's the beginning of the end of partition.
Hero was to be on. Styril. Bhí Cadwórscafta ar os an seo, bhí Nero Galore Sakan into Hala, bhí an at Bloody Helladini, Jazz Gro Cadwór an seo on Mark Neckel, agus Lorsa go Hintach, into Kama, agus into Proficient, agus Fish, into Ege, dun Uachdrans, agus Tams Ligging Torch Takiak do, into Gwil an méid daine teachta mo honna ecail agus tumadana Gwil Cadwór hon vote chahu an Shacklasky.
Yeah, this has been, I think, the last of the big rallies that we've had, and all of the rallies have been the same. They've been absolutely phenomenal and massive turnout here in Dundalk tonight. So as we head into the election next Thursday, we're obviously buoyed up by the warmth and the phenomenal warmth of the reception that we're getting all over the island of Ireland. I think it's fantastic, and I think hopefully the critics will get a big surprise next week.
The vision of the people's president has really caught hold, whether it's Cork, Kerry or Donegal. People of Ireland, do you think they're going to come out and vote for you?
Yeah, I think people want change, and I think they see me as someone who isn't part of the establishment, and the only person outside of the establishment candidates who has possibility of winning this election. So I think people know that I want to be a voice for the voiceless, a voice for all of those who feel betrayed by the selfishness and greed of recent years, and as someone who is prepared to stand with them in their hour of need. I'm just an ordinary person who's had an extraordinary life, but I've been tested in the leadership stakes, both in terms of struggle but also in terms of being in government and delivering meaningful jobs for people in this country through foreign direct investment. And that's what my focus will be if I am elected President of Ireland, getting the economy back on track and getting jobs for our young people, and working with the government of the day to ensure that we can utilise the inroads that we have, particularly in the United States of America and elsewhere, to bring more jobs to this country.